from, hello, sorry. Hi friends, welcome back. I'm MC, a knit and crochet designer and yarn dyer from Connecticut. And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Blame the Knots, on my website, blametheknots.com, and of course right here on YouTube where you can get to know me a little bit better. Today, we are here for episode 67 of the podcast. It is a Wednesday, March 18th, as I'm filming this, which, how the heck did we get here? How is it the middle of March already? Past the middle of March. What the heck? And I think today might be kind of a quicker episode, and we will talk about why in a little bit. We have a couple things to talk about today, but I think it's going to go pretty quickly. I am not wearing anything handmade, but I do love this sweater, and I kind of want to make something with a similar silhouette to this. But anyway, without further ado, let's move right in to our finished objects. I made some lofty claims the last time I filmed, and I would like to say I succeeded in the promises that I made. I said that I was going to try and finish almost all of my works in progress, 2 out of 3, and I did it. So the first thing that I have is my ingrain shawl that I started when I was on vacation. And this, actually, the 2 finished things that I have to talk about today, I have not blocked yet. So ends are woven in, but it is not blocked. This, I haven't even thrown it around me yet. Oh, that's fun. That doesn't look too bad. Doesn't really go with this outfit, but this is the Ingrain Shawl by Sarah Opie, and it is a pattern that is meant to use 3 colors. I, as you can potentially tell, only used 2. This is using, they're both yarnable yarns. I'm pretty sure this one was called Mossy Hollow and this one was Grow with the Flow. They're very fun. I decided to do some color blocking, and let's see. I used a US 5 needle. I don't know what the pattern actually calls for. I just know that that's the size that I like to use for my shawls, and I did one tiny little modification that allowed me to slip 3 stitches with yarn in front on every row to make the I-cord edge instead of what is written in the pattern, but not a big deal. It was very, very simple. So this is done, needs to be blocked, and to be honest, I think that this might end up going in a gift bin or something. That is cute, but I think it's gonna go in a gift bin. I'm not super in love with it. I like it. I just don't think it really has much of a place in, sorry. I do not think it has much of a place in my wardrobe at the moment, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I think I was I kind of already come to terms with that before I even started making this. I was like, you know what? And if I'm not into it at the end, that's fine. It can just be a present for someone. So there we go. That is done. Then I finished my DK netty vest. This also has to be blocked, so it's kind of curling in at the edges a little bit, but this is just kind of a modification of my netty vest, which is a fingering weight pattern. I redid some math so that I could make it in a DK weight. This is using, that's a little bit better. This is using Nori. The colorway is Nori from Trench Yarn, who has an Etsy shop. And it's done. That's all. I'm excited to wear it. It looks really small, but that's because it's meant to have 6 inches of negative ease, so it's got to do some stretching, and it has not been blocked yet, so it will grow once I block it. So that is also done. And that is it. Now let's move on to our works in progress because we need to talk. I don't think I've ever done a quicker finished objects section, except for maybe like there might have been a time when I had no finished objects and we just skipped right over it. But yeah, that was fast. Really easy. So, works in progress. I am once again proud of myself for doing exactly what I promised. And I have a little bit more than half a pair of socks done. So this is using the Friends Advent skein, self-striping skein. This looks so funny on my hand. Hello, sorry. I couldn't resist. No, I'm totally lost. This is from Kirby Warby Yarns, and this was the Friends Advent, I believe, from 2023. Each stripe comes with, it came with a paper that has a quote for each stripe, which is so fun. These are gonna end up being shorties on me because I was looking at the skein and I was not confident in how many repeats there were of all of the stripes, and I wanted to make these match. So I started with stripe number 1. It's great because the sheet was marked with where my skein started, so I could find like what actually was stripe number 1. And I started with stripe number 1. I went through to 24, and then I put the, I got a mini skein with my set to add in for the toe, and I'm gonna use that for the heels as well. So then I had to stop because I wanted to start the next sock at stripe color number 1. So these are gonna be shorties, and that's okay. I have been trying to do 2 stripes a day. So that's what got me the first sock done before the middle of the month. I did take one day off because I was so close to finishing my ingrain shawl and I just really wanted to get that done. So I did the whole sock, and then I took one day off to finish my ingrain shawl, and then the next day I did the toe, and then the next day I cast on and started my 2 stripes every day for the next sock. So we are cruising along. We are doing just fine. I was talking last time about something about the texture of these yarn feeling weird to me, and it is definitely like something in these beginning colors. So I don't know if it's like maybe that'll go away once the once they're blocked. Maybe it's just the dye, like a little bit of leftover dye in there, because the rest of the socks feel like what I expect a superwash merino nylon to feel like, and the mini and everything. It's just both socks, the ribbing feels funny. I don't know. We'll keep you posted once I finish and block these. Yeah, I'm not super in love with some of the stripes, but you know what? That's okay. It doesn't matter to me. I feel like if I took off the top and then like from this black stripe, I like that, but there's something about all of them that's not the most exciting to me, but that's okay. It's fine. That's what a self-striping sock is about. It's just fun and colors. So this should be done by the next time I see you, assuming that I stay on track. I'm going to finish this whole sock and then do both heels either on the same day or like one heel one day and one heel the next day, just so that I make sure that everything ends up even and I don't mess up where I'm inserting the heels. So that is going smoothly. Now, here is where we have to talk about things, because I started a weaving project, and this is my next work in progress that is going to be very hard to show you, but I have been working on my rigid heddle loom and loving it. Okay, I'm gonna put this down so that we can talk about it. So I have this skein of yarn that I really want to use, and I'm kind of dreaming of weaving it into a wall hanging. Let me show you. Hang on. It is this. This is some hand spun that I made, I think in 2024 in the Tour de Fleece. I think this is the Clun Forest. I'm not positive, but I love it so much. I don't remember how much I have. I don't have this labeled. I do have it written down somewhere, but I don't have the skein labeled. And I want to make something with this, and I want it to be something that I am going to either use or appreciate often. I don't want to turn it into like a hat because I don't wear them that often. I don't want to turn it into a cowl because I literally never wear cowls. So I thought weaving would be fun, but this is a long story, a long tangent to talk about my work in progress. I wanted to kind of get myself back in the groove of weaving. I kind of wanted to remember how to warp my loom, practice doing some of the math that you need to do, and kind of see how things went, see where my weaknesses were, and try to like learn. So what I did is I pulled a skein out of my stash, and it is what I have used to warp the loom. It's gonna be pretty hard to tell because what I've used of it so far is already wound up on the loom, but it was a Sorella yarn skein in the colorway Shop Around the Corner, I believe. It was a You've Got Mail inspired skein, and I thought, I love this, but I'm not going to be distraught if I don't love how this project works out. So I did the math. I did not sample. That was my own choice, and that's okay, and I'm okay with that. But I did some math, tried to figure things out. I warped my loom with the goal of being able to weave a length of 72 inches. I wanted to make a scarf, and so I warped 100 ends on my 12 dent rigid heddle. So that was about 8.5 inches. And I put 90 inches on the warp, so I was, with the waist and all that stuff, I was hoping to get about 72-ish inches of weaving. So then I used the same yarn as my warp. I had done the math. It should have worked out if I had the right picks. So with weaving, you can think of like, if you're trying to make comparisons to knitting, I would say ends per inch is like your stitch gauge, and picks per inch is like your row gauge. So I was aiming to have 12 for both. 12 stitches per inch, 12 rows per inch, basically. And, well, I ran out of yarn at 41.5 inches. So clearly my row gauge, my picks per inch, was a little bit off. It was way off. It was like 20 picks per inch. So, and that's something that I knew was a problem, that I was kind of a tight weaver, but I didn't fully think about the consequences of that until I was a little bit too far along. I also, when I was doing the math, I forgot to account for shrinkage and stuff, but again, not a big deal. That was the point of this. It was supposed to be a project that I wasn't upset when things went wrong, right? So I ran out of yarn with 41.5 inches woven, but that meant I still had like 30 inches at least of weaving length left on my warp, and I didn't want to just cut that off of my loom because that would be such a waste of yarn. So I grabbed some scraps that I had. I had left over newly sharpened pencils on my For Sure fingering base, and I thought it went well enough. Is it perfect? No. But is it close enough that I don't care? Yes. So right now I have kind of a color blocked scarf going on, and we'll see when it comes off the loom if I like it or not. If I don't, I can just cut them apart because I've basically made fabric, and so I can just cut it down the middle if I don't like it, and I can turn them into 2 really tiny table runners or placemats or something, right? And I'm okay with that. Anyway, I have been having a blast. I am learning a lot. I am doing a pretty good job. My selvages are not the best, but I have been keeping a consistent width the whole time, and that makes me really happy. I do have a little bit of drawing, probably more than I should, but at least I'm consistent, right? So I can work on improving other things, but my consistency is pretty good. Obviously I need to work on not compacting things so much, but that's okay. That's what this whole project was about. So I need your help. If you are a weaver, specifically a rigid heddle loom weaver, please give me all of the resources. I have been trying to find a lot of things on YouTube, online, and I don't know if I'm like putting in the wrong search criteria or looking in the wrong place, but it just feels like there's not the same type of community, information, wealth of knowledge on the internet with weaving as there is for knitting and crocheting. It just feels like it doesn't feel the same. So I have found a couple of resources, but I would really love to find some more and get some inspiration and learn some stuff. I'm obviously still in the learning phase, and so a lot of the terminology and stuff has not sunk in yet. And yeah, I'm a learn by doing type of person. So I just need to like try things and fail and then see what happens and go from there and then try it differently next time. Okay, I went a little bit out of order because the next thing that I've been working on is something that I pulled out kind of out of duress, and I'm not unhappy with what I'm working on, but we'll talk about it. This is my Harlequilt, my DK version of my Harlequilt, and oh my god, okay, it looks so good. It looks so good on camera. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is a pattern of mine. I have a fingering weight version out and available for only $2 right now, if you would like to grab it, but that is pieced, so it is instructed to make diagonal strips and then you seam them together. But I wanted to figure out the numbers for DK. I mean, you could, if you want to be brave, you could very easily turn the pattern into a DK weight pattern without my help, but I wanted to get the numbers for the people that don't want to do that and want to just read the numbers. And two, I wanted to create instructions for a completely modular join as you go version of the Harlequilt, and I'm loving it. It's so good. So I just finished this most recent strip, and so now I'm going to start another one that attaches on here with another color. I am using my entire It's Electric Neon collection. This is Livewire and this is Power Surge, and then I'm using as my neutral, this is Heads Up, which has some speckles on it. And then I will also be doing 3 more neons. It is going to be 5 neon diamonds long and 5 neon diamonds wide, and I'm very excited about it. I don't remember where this was the last time I showed it to you, but I have basically been in a bit of a knitting and crocheting slump lately. I have been chugging along doing my 2 stripes a day on my socks, but it honestly has not been giving me very much joy. And I started the weaving. That has been fun, but that's not really something, you know, I can't take that with me. It's a little bit harder to like chill and watch a movie doing it, just because I have to be like more present. I can't be like lounging and knitting and stuff. So I have nothing else that I'm in the middle of. The only thing that was a knitting or crochet whip that I could pick up was the Harlequilt. And so I did, because I couldn't decide what else I wanted to cast on. I had so many thoughts about things I wanted to make, designs I wanted to work on, yarns I wanted to use, and just nothing has been calling to me. Every time I thought about something, I have huge lists of things that I want to make one day. And every time I thought about making one of them, I just went, I don't really feel like it right now. So I decided to pull this out because I wanted to work on something, you know. It was like stare at a wall or work on this. That's pretty much where I was at. I don't know what's going on. Nothing is calling to me, and I'm trying to just kind of let that happen. I feel like if I just let it be for a few days, maybe my mojo will come back and I will suddenly get all these ideas and want to work on stuff. But what do you do when you don't feel like working on anything? Because, like, I want to be knitting or crocheting. I want to be doing the action, but I can't find a project that is making me feel like I want to work on it. Does that make sense? I do feel like I'm getting a little bit more excited to work on the Harlequilt. I had to kind of like refresh my brain to get back into it, and I have to do a little bit more math. I do think, like, once I do this next upcoming strip, I'm going to do a lot of like stopping to take pictures for the pattern every so often, and like really double checking all of the instructions and stuff like that. And then I should be able to kind of cruise from there, but I don't know. What do you do? What do you do when you don't want to work on anything, but you do want to work on something? Help. There is nothing new in the shop yet. Thank you so much. We did have a big sale the past week or two. And so thank you so much to everyone who is helping me to clear out my shelves a little bit and get some more space. That was fantastic. I have been thinking and coming up with some colorways for our next collection, so I'm very excited about that. But the one business related thing I wanted to talk to you about today is the fact that the Bay Day tea is now in testing, and I wanted to make sure that if you were ever interested in testing for me, you got on my newsletter. So the link to that is down below. I always send my testing calls to my newsletter first, and 95% of the time I end up filling up my testing call from my newsletter. You don't have to do anything special. You just have to be on my newsletter, because I send the calls to them first. And very, very rarely will I then put a call onto Instagram or anywhere public, because I need a few more testers. Usually I fill it up from my newsletter. So if you are interested in testing for me in the future, make sure you're on the newsletter. I have a couple of things coming up. I have the Bay Day Tank DK version, which some of you may have seen me working on about this time last year, a little bit later than this last year. It has been a long time coming, so that testing call will be coming very soon. I have a shawl that I worked on this time last year that I still have not sent out a testing call. That will be coming very soon. And I have a bunch of things in the works. I have a lot of patterns actually that are like ready to go and just need to be tested. So if you're interested in any of it, make sure you're on the newsletter. I promise I don't bombard you with a lot of emails. I honestly just send out testing calls, sales, and coupon codes. That's like basically it. Life. So last time I filmed, I was a little bit stuffy, and it turned out that that was kind of like the best day that I had. I ended up getting kind of worse after that. I pretty much felt okay during all of that, but I was so stuffy, and it made my brain just like hurt. So I was kind of like down for the count for a little bit. I think this also contributed a little bit to my knitting slump because I was just not feeling much of anything. I then got better and then I got a migraine. The weather here, I don't know about where you live, but in Connecticut, in the United States, the past couple of weeks have been like 50 degrees and sunny, and then the next day it's like 75 degrees and sunny, and then the next day it's like 30 degrees and raining, and then the next day it's 50 degrees and sunny, and the next day it's 50 degrees and pouring, and then the next day it's 30 degrees and snowing. And it's like my body can't handle that. It like really, really, really wrecks me. So I ended up getting a migraine that kind of got me down and out for a few days. So yeah, I've just been kind of mopey, like not for any real reason. I'm fine. Nothing is wrong. It's just that time of year. Like my brain feels heavy. My body feels heavy. The weather makes me feel yucky like all the time. And so I think this is partly part of my slump. I ended up losing my sock needles for a day. That was fun. In between the two socks, I lost my 9-inch circulars for a full day. So I managed to get things cast on like at the very end of the night once I finally found them. But I had nothing else to work on. That was the only thing that was cast on at the moment. I lost my needles, and so I just didn't work on anything because I also couldn't decide what I wanted to work on. My brain has been rough lately. But in better news, it was Joe's birthday, so we celebrated him all last weekend, and it was lots of fun. We went out to dinner, we did some shopping, we just hung out, watched whatever movies he wanted to, and had a great time. So that was really fun, and it was great celebrating him, and I am slowly, I think, getting my groove back. Hopefully the next time we talk, the weather will be warmer. I will be in a better mood. I won't be feeling so mopey about my knitting. Maybe I will have some inspiration. Finally, I'll probably be done with this weaving and maybe starting another one. That will be really fun. I really want to get back into spinning. We'll get there. We will get there. Hopefully the sun will come out and help us along. And we will get there. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Make sure that you like this video, leave me a comment, let me know if you have any weaving information, and also what you do when you're in a slump. Help me out. Help me out. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I have a couple of fun video ideas coming up soon, which I also need to just like get myself motivated to do. We can do this. We can do this. I really want to do another 1 week, 1 skein, which I know is a fan favorite, and I haven't done one in a while, so I'm trying. I'm trying. Anyway, thanks so much. Take care of you, and until next time, I will see you later.